The decision to call the statewide central register to report suspected child abuse or maltreatment is an individual professional responsibility based on your own reasonable cause to suspect. It's a decision you make based on your general knowledge of what is reasonable in terms of injuries and explanations, and your specific understanding of each child in your care. Let's hear more.
Brian, what's the meaning of reasonable cause to suspect?
Reasonable cause to suspect can be a little bit ambiguous, but what reasonable cause to suspect is should you come across a situation, you were to explain that situation to a reasonable person, that you would come to the same conclusion. It's not fact, it's not necessarily truth for that matter, but it's based on what you see and you're able to substantiate what you see, and we think of it as being reasonable.
So it's more than a gut feeling?
It's a lot more than a gut feeling. You have some information that backs up your reasonable cause to suspect. For instance, you have a child with a handprint on their arm. It's reasonable to suspect that someone hit that child. What we have to then determine is who hit that child or who allowed that child to be placed in that situation. That's where the confusion may come. It's not unreasonable to call us and explain to us why you feel the way you do. Gut feelings, unfortunately, legally, it's not reasonable us to move on a gut feeling.
Now, if you see something that doesn't give you reasonable cause to suspect, but it's a change in the parent's behavior, the child's behavior, it's just a change. What do you do?
Depends on the change. Some changes children go through. Everyone goes through changes. There are a lot of reasons for those changes. Families split for whatever reason. Parents divorce, death in the family, a sibling gets hurt or injured. Those changes, it's reasonable for a child to maybe their behavior change a little bit. Where we would then want to be involved is if that change would be what we would consider over the top and it's long lasting. It's not something that you can say is attributed, as a mandated reporter, say that it's attributed to the death of a parent or a loved one. You don't really have a reason that you can think of for that child, for their behavior to change as drastically as it has. Those are the things that we would be interested in, and those are the items that we would ask you to question a child on.
And so you could call the statewide central register and talk about these changes that you've been documenting.
Absolutely. And again, particularly with behavioral issues, the parents of the persons legally responsible have to be aware of them, or they should be aware of them. In younger children, it's a given. A parent should be aware of what their child is going through. When you get into those middle ages, as early as 10 in some cases, children do things that parents aren't all aware of, and they may not be aware of what their child is doing. So again, we have to know that the person legally responsible is aware of the behavior, and for whatever reason, they've not taken the steps to correct it.
So let's say I have reasonable cause to suspect, and I'm ready to call the statewide central register. What do I need to do?
Well, the first thing you need to do is fill out the DSS 2221A form. If that form is filled out, that's pretty much 3/4 of the way. When you call us, we're going to ask you things like demographics and the names and addresses. It mirrors the same form that we fill out. So primarily fill out that form. You have reasonable cause to suspect, call us, and then we'll discuss it.
So that really helps the mandated reporter prepare for that call, kind of getting everything together.
Absolutely.
Seeing if there's any holes or anything, and then you call the 800 number.
Absolutely. That form is, as I mentioned before, mirrors everything that we do. It has the name, it has the address, it has the ethnicity, ages, everything that we would possibly ask you concerning that family's demographics is on that form.
What would you say to a mandated reporter if they're kind of struggling with this concept about making a report? You know, it's hard. You have a relationship with the child and the family.
It is difficult, but your primary focus for all mandated reporters is the child. You have to put your personal feelings aside. And we know it's a very tough thing to do, to make a report on a family, particularly one that you're familiar with. But again, the primary person that we're here to protect is that child and the family. So it's imperative that they call, and again, put your personal feelings aside. Right now, we're here to help the child. Make the call.
And it's their legal responsibility.
Yes, it is. You are mandated to make the call. If you should not or decide not to, and it's found that that child was in fact injured, it could come back on that mandated reporter who did not make that call.
Brian, thank you and to the staff at the Statewide Central Register for all the work that you do for the children and families of New York State. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Determining reasonable cause to suspect is not always an easy task. Use fair, accurate, careful, and timely observations. Look for a combination or pattern of indicators or a change in behavior. Anyone can and should report suspected child abuse or maltreatment. As long as the report is based on good faith, the reporter will be immune from liability. Remember, reporting suspected child abuse or maltreatment is not only your legal responsibility, it's the right thing to do.